So there seems to be a small percentage, and I'm going to say small, of people in the firearms community who seem to think that a single action revolver chambered in .22 LR is adequate for self-defense. Now, I've always been an each to his own type of guy. If you want to carry that for self-defense, you do you. And I hope I make clear from the outset that I'm just doing this in fun. I just thought we'd have a little fun with this, and I hope nobody gets offended. Might be kind of fun to put this idea to the test. Now, on a previous video that I did on a Ruger Wrangler single action revolver, I made the following comment. Let's take a look. I know some people like to say that these are good for self-defense, and that's a subject for probably another video, but nah, I mean, give me at least a 9mm. Is this really going to cover all your bases? I mean, if you have a home invasion, you have somebody who is inexperienced and maybe they're drunk, and maybe this will work in a case like that. But what if you got 4 guys who are all on meth? Now, some of the comments I find somewhat hilarious. Like one guy said, well, what kind of neighborhood do you live in? Well, I'm out here in the sticks. I don't think there's too many meth heads out here. But I think sometimes people miss the point. I'm just saying, is a single action revolver or just .22 LR, even in the form of an autoloader, is that going to cover all your bases? Just using that as an example. Now, somebody made a comment, and I got to be honest, when I read the comment, this is kind of how I read it. Meth, 4 headshots and 2 left over, partner. And just who are you? Call me the Ruger Kid on account of my Ruger Wrangler single action revolver. Ah, so you're like Doc Holliday, Billy the Kid, Clint Eastwood? That's right. So you really think that Ruger Wrangler single action's really good for self-defense? That's right. Well, except those guys mostly carried .45 Colt, not .22 long rifle. Mister, you just better watch your P's and Q's around these parts. Might land a guy into trouble. Well, how about if we put that idea to the test? Let's think in hypotheticals for a second. I'll even make it easy on you. Let's say that you and the 4 assailants all have the same gun. What are the odds? You each have a Ruger Wrangler single action pistol. I wonder how much time it's going to take for you to fire 4 headshots. Those are not the size of a regular human head. Yes, the heads are much smaller than an actual human head. But when you're shooting in self-defense, you're going to be under duress. Maybe your opponent, your assailant, is moving around on you. Good practice for you. See, I was just as fast as Clint Eastwood. Not even close. In order to be as fast as Clint Eastwood in the movies, you'd probably have to have a modified racing gun. And even then, mister, you're really starting to get on my nerves. So according to my math, or ciphering as you might call it, your opponents are going to get off 16 shots to your 4 in the same amount of time, if you guys are equally matched. Let's try some center mass. Oh, look, Ruger Kid, you barely hit the targets that time. Well, let's just think in the realm of reality for a second. Let's say that you and your assailants are not equally matched. Let's say they have one of these fancy modern autoloaders. That is heresy and blasphemy. Ain't nobody ought to be carrying one of those modern newfangled autoloaders. So how many shots are they gonna get off to your 4 with an autoloader? Let's put that to the test. So with fans of 22 long rifle, a lot is said about shot placement, which is an important factor, but it's not the only factor. The whole idea behind self-defense is to drop your opponent before he drops you. And not only do you have to have accurate shot placement, but you also have to do it fast. A lot of people that talk about 22 long rifle for self-defense, I find that a lot of the reason is because they're recoil sensitive. And if you're so recoil sensitive that you haven't trained past the 22, then the probability of you shooting fast and accurately when you're under duress at a moving target with single action probably isn't that high. There's a lot of arguments made. I know I've heard of stories of even bear being taken with 22, or even heard a story once of an elephant being dropped. It hit just in the right place and dropped an elephant. I heard that. So, I mean, all these rounds can be lethal, but shot placement isn't the only factor. You need to be able to drop that threat right now. Not 2 minutes from now, 2 or 3 minutes from now, or 3 or 4 rounds from now, but right now. And there's a lot of factors that people don't think about, such as penetration. What if a guy has a bunch of layers of clothing on? Is it going to sufficiently penetrate through that? What if it's a bigger guy? He's got a lot of insulation, shall we say, to be politically correct. So to me, it really boils down to an issue of training. If you're recoil sensitive, I would train past the 22 and get to at least a 9mm. Now, there are law enforcement out there who say that even 9mm isn't adequate. And this is coming from people that have seen directly the effects of different calibers on the human body. Well, maybe you found a self-defense round in 22 that works for you. Let me know in the comments. They do make faster, hotter rounds nowadays, but still, a lot of those still won't pass the FBI requirements, such as penetration, energy, all that. Well, it is -13 wind chill out right now. It's getting pretty cold, so gotta wrap it up. Thanks for watching. Catch you on the next one.